The Galilee Experience is a ministry organization overlooking the Sea of Galilee, and I spoke with Eric Morley and asked him what is the Galilee Experience.
Well, the Galilee Experience is a ministry center on the Sea of Galilee, which consists of a theater, with 200-seat theater with a multi-image show about the history of the Galilee. We also have a shop and a cafe and an art gallery, and we also have a mail order operation, and we publish our own calendars. But the heart of the ministry is the show that we present in the theater, which is the history of the Galilee, and it helps Christians connect with Israel and the Jewish roots of their faith, and it is used to present the gospel here in the land of Israel.
So how long has it been established here in the Galilee?
Over 16 years. Yeah.
How was it started?
Well, my wife and I immigrated from the United States 24 years ago. My wife is Jewish. She's a Messianic Jew, so we were able to become citizens in the land. And the Lord revealed to us this vision about this ministry center over a period of time and gave us the resources to launch the project. It opened in 1991. And so we feel like it was something the Lord ordained, and He provided the means to do it. And it's been running now for 16 years, so it's something that we just feel blessed to be able to be part of.
So what sort of people actually come here to visit the Galilee Experience?
Well, we have Christian groups from all over the world coming here. We've had more than 400,000 visitors to our theater seeing the show. But in addition to that, we have Jewish Israelis coming, and they're hearing their history from a different perspective than they've ever heard it before. And in particular, they're hearing the story of Yeshua, Jesus, the most famous Israeli of all, and we present him in a very Jewish way. We put him back into context as he really was and as it really happened, and they begin to see him as who he was. He was one of them. So it's an eye-opening, seed-planting ministry for the Israelis to come.
So how many people have been through your doors and seen the video so far?
Over 400,000,
wow.
Of whom 25,000 are Jewish Israelis.
So what's your aims for the Galilee Experience?
Well, a lot of the original goals have already been fulfilled, but we want to take it to a new level. So we want to produce 2 or 3 new shows that we'll present here in our theater. We want to open more of a cafe opportunity ministry. We're also looking at having a kind of a museum here in this building. There's lots of space in the building right on the Sea of Galilee. And so there's several things that we want to expand, but the heart of it, again, will be the show. So we want to do a new version of the Galilee Experience with new technology. We want to do another show called The Man from Galilee, just about Yeshua and specifically oriented towards Jewish Israelis, because we've been so encouraged by the response we've gotten of the way we're presenting the gospel today. We think we can be even bolder and stronger, and many, many tens of thousands of Jewish Israelis will come every year to hear the gospel.
Wow, that's exciting.
It's wonderful. It's exciting.
Now, you're an elder in the Messianic community. How was that established?
Several years ago, the Lord began to put on the heart of my wife and I to start a home congregation in our home. We had meetings for years. We had a Monday morning prayer meeting, worship meeting every week. We had Wednesday night home group meetings from the congregation we were involved in. We had guest speakers coming to our home many times, as well as to the Galilee Experience. And but we never thought about being leaders or elders of a congregation. The Lord began to show us that this is what He wanted us to do. And so 2 years ago, we founded this congregation. It's called Kehilat Poria. Kehilat means congregation. We don't use the word church in Israel because there's so many bad connotations with that word for the Jewish people. Over the time, we use the word congregation. And Poria is the name of the little village that we live in, where the congregation is founded, but the word Poria itself means fruitful. So you can translate the name of our congregation, which is named after the place, but it means fruitful congregation, and we hope that the Lord will make us fruitful. And as a house congregation, we intend to stay in the house permanently. We don't intend to move out of the house if it grows too big for the house. We would then help someone start another one. We would branch out. We'd multiply rather than growing by multiplication rather than by addition. And the leadership of the congregation is as a plurality of elders rather than having one pastor in charge. It's a group of leaders who together direct the congregation and make decisions.
So So how easy is it to establish a Messianic community here?
Well, it wasn't that hard. There's no laws against preaching the gospel or against gathering together. There's freedom of religion, freedom of speech. So there are people that would like to restrict those freedoms for the Messianics and the Christians in the land, but the law is on our side, and we have had no objection whatsoever from our neighbors or people in the village to what we did. But we also did it kind of quietly and slowly, and we know people who lived there for many years, and I was on the city council, and it was kind of, we did it carefully and slowly so we wouldn't make a lot of waves. But we've had, it hasn't been difficult.
Are Messianic believers accepted here in Israel?
Well, of course, there's a minority in the land of Israel of ultra-Orthodox who are not receptive to the message of Yeshua as the Messiah. They're a minority, and most of them are not very active, but there are some very active ones, and they can create problems. Our congregation hasn't had problems, but others have. But the average Israeli, this average secular Israeli, while they don't embrace our faith yet, they also don't really, it doesn't bother them. So we're quite well accepted, really.
How big is the Messianic community here in Tiberias?
Well, Tiberias has a large Messianic community compared to the population. There's 4 congregations, one of which is one of the largest in the country with 450 members. Another one has about 100. We have about 35. There's another one about the same size. And it's really a rather large proportion of the population. As a matter of fact, the village that we live in, Poria, Elite, has by far the largest population of believers of any community in the country.
Wow.
Except one place outside of Jerusalem, which is only believers. It was founded by believers, but as far as a regular Israeli community, we have about 20% of the population, which is 80 times the national average. It's kind of a phenomenal thing. It's amazing.
No. What's your prayer for the Messianic community here in Israel?
Well, our prayer would be that we would learn how to express ourselves, our faith, in a way that would appeal to the average, not so much ultra-Orthodox, but the average secular Israeli would be drawn to who we are and what we represent, and that is happening slowly in our community. We would like to see more native-born Israelis coming to faith. Most of the members of most of the congregations in the country are immigrants of one kind or another, from the United States, from England, from Russia, from France, from Ethiopia. Very small proportion of native-born Israelis, or what we call Sabras, in these congregations. So this is what we're really looking for, is more native-born Israelis to come to faith. And the community that we live in is there's very few immigrants, except for us Americans there. Very few immigrants, Russian or otherwise. It's the native-born Israelis primarily. So we feel we have an opportunity there, and of course all the other congregations do too, to reach out to their Sabra neighbors, and this is what our prayer is.
So you have a website for the Galilee Experience, and you sell products. What's your website for people who'd like to know more?
It's called thegalileeexperience.com. So, or you just go on Google and put Galilee Experience, and we have a wonderful web store. We have products, 250 or 300 products that basically express the Jewish roots of the Christian faith for people who want to identify with those roots, and who want to support and bless Israel. We also produce our own Jewish calendars for Christians. Our new line just came out, started in September 1st, and so they're 16-month calendars. And we also have a 24/7 webcam right here on the Sea of Galilee. So you can go onto our website, click on the webcam, and see the waterfront of Tiberias and the Sea of Galilee 24/7.